What's up, YouTubers? Jeremy here. I've been saving this story. It's not a fun story. It's one that I really have to kind of dig deep in my emotions and go some places I really would rather not go back to, but I think it's important for me to share this story. It's one of the worst days of my life regarding Parkinson's, maybe one of the worst days of my life, period. And this was the day that I tried to start another job after my 20-year career at a warehouse, shipping, receiving, picking orders, forklifts, that type of stuff. I'd been diagnosed, I guess I was diagnosed about 2 or 3 years previous, so I just quit my job about 6 to 8 months previous. So this is still pretty early in my diagnosis. So I thought, I was going through the list of things I might be able to do. I said maybe I could, somebody suggested maybe you could go to a movie theater and tear ticket stubs. I'm like, I can do that. I'll sit on a little chair and pull ticket stubs. That's something I can do. So I went to the theater, movie theater, of course. Remember those? So I went to the theater and I explained to the guy, it was an open call. I explained to the guy that was interviewing me, I said, I have Parkinson's. I'm going to be limited on what I can do. He said, no problem. And I got the sense that they were having trouble keeping people. I said, I can sit and pull ticket stubs, maybe empty a few trash cans now and then. I can't handle money or be on my feet for long periods of time. Pretty simple, straightforward. But what got me the job was the fact that I could add, which is crazy to think. He said, can you add by 25? Yeah, 25, 50, 75, 100. So that, he's like, you would be surprised how many people can't add quarters. I'm like, well, I can't. I once again told him, listen, I have Parkinson's. Don't give me a roll of quarters because I'll be screwing with it for a long time. So he said, no problem. So I came back, I guess a few days later for my orientation. Once again, completely honest about what my limitations were. And I was given a schedule. They like, you got the job. I was like, yes, I can work at a movie theater. I'll get free tickets. Movie theaters are one of my favorite places ever in the whole world. A lot of good memories in movie theaters. All the fun movies I saw with my friends and things like that, and with my family, going out with my wife early on in our relationship. It was a lot of fun. So I show up for my first day of work. Now I'm nervous as hell. And my wife, she told me, don't worry, you'll be fine. You'll be absolutely fine. Well, I don't want to say I was defeated before I went in, but my leg was really hurting me, and I was having trouble walking in. It was not as bad as it is now, but I could force myself to walk, but the cramping would go all the way down my left leg. And the only way I could move was to like completely force my leg, which I was later told, you're going to need a hip replacement if you keep doing that. So, I mean, if these multiplex theaters are huge, you got long walks in between your stations. So when I kind of started to realize that, I was a little scared because they had me walking around with all the other employees. By the way, they were all like 17, 18 years old. They couldn't figure out what a bald 40-year-old guy was doing there. I did not have the mustache then. Maybe they wouldn't have hired me with a mustache. Being like, too outlaw. So I'm walking around, and my leg is killing me. They walk us through the concession area with the popcorn, and the floor is slippery as hell. And I had to buy these special shoes, which I still have, I don't wear, which I suppose were good for standing on, but not good for walking on slippery floors. There was like butter and ice and stuff on the floors. I was really getting concerned. But I was able to kind of stand against the wall and just kind of take in what was going on. And when the group would walk, I guess it was about 10 or so employees, when the group would walk to the next station, like the office or whatever, I held back because I didn't want anybody to see me walking. I didn't want anybody to see me limping. Now these teenagers were up their own rear ends. They didn't really give a crap what was going on with me, which was fine with me, by the way. So the last stop was the office, and I go into the office, and I don't know what was going on, but there was definitely a vibe of some shady things going on in that office. By shady, I mean like a little sexy time. Which, no judgment. And there was a bottle of vodka on the desk. I thought, well, this is, maybe it's going to be one of those loosey-goosey atmospheres where nobody will really care if I'm having a bad day. Not so much. We were given our assignments, which was to go to the concession area with the popcorn and soda. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. But I didn't say anything because I thought they knew that I would be excluded from that. So I immediately start, I'm having a little moment, but I'm holding myself together. They wanted me to go get these things of butter to put on the popcorn. There were these giant bricks of butter like this, like a cinder block. And I thought, I just left this job. I can't be dragging like 50-pound blocks of butter on this slippery ass floor. And they were showing me this the soda dispensers, like the tubes and stuff. And I'm like, that's not going to be easy for me to do. Get the little nozzles off. But I manned up. I'm like, I'm not gonna let this defeat me. I'm gonna get through this. This was before my medicine wore off quite as quickly as it does now. It can wear off pretty quickly now. So I felt like I could feel when my medicine was wearing off, and I was able to take a dose. Get to the firing line. They say, who wants to run the register? Now I've got a huge phobia of running registers. People that used to work with me in my last job. My friend Jill, she tried to train me on the register. I just completely locked up. I don't know. This was way before PD. I think it's just a panic thing that sets in. I really don't know what it is. Something about people watching me do it. Like if I was checking out with nobody around, I'd be able to flying through it. But the fact that people are watching me do it makes me incredibly nervous. But I manned up. I said, I'm going to John Wayne this shit. And I got up on the cashier or the cash register and started bringing out sodas, popcorn. Now, I was having trouble with it because the screen was foreign to me, and people were kind of like, my coworkers were like, here, they were having to press all the buttons. Once again, they didn't explain anything to me. They just put me in front of it. Now, maybe that was my Parkinson slow brain, and maybe he's just a 40-year-old guy trying to learn to register and the nerves going on. I was doing good until it came to the part where I had to crack a roll of quarters open. Now, I should note that there was a younger, like I was probably like maybe college age, late teens chick that was working with me. And I mean, I don't want to sound like a stud muffin, but I think she was digging on me. I mean, who wouldn't? So I could tell she was digging on me. And when I grabbed the roll of quarters, she said, break it. And I couldn't break it with my hands. My hands were slippery from the butter on the popcorn. And I have Parkinson, so I don't have the grip strength. And she said, it's just paper. Why can't you break the quarters? She's like, you're not going to last if you can't break a roll of quarters. And I'm like, great. That was probably strike one or maybe strike two, considering where I was in the day. I was like, she sees it. She sees I can't do it. Now, nobody knew that I had Parkinson's. They didn't. I mean, I could tell some of the other guys watching me could tell something was wrong. And when she started kind of ribbing me, I could see the other guys that I was working with were kind of like, settle down, easy now. But she was probably on drugs or something. She disappeared for a long time and came back acting really silly. Which I have no hard feelings to any of these people. They didn't know. They're kids. They don't know what it's like to have young onset Parkinson's, and hopefully they never will. So she broke the roll of quarters for me and dumped it in the thing, and she started laughing at me. Well, finally the crowd slowed down. The after dinner crowd slowed down, and they gave me a rag and some cleaning stuff and said, go wipe down the counters. Well, I was like, okay, I can do that. I can get away from people. Well, I was walking and I noticed the people watching me waddle around, for lack of a better term, in the lobby. My other employees, fellow employees, I should say. But I just kept doing it because I'm like, I cannot let what people think of me stop me from getting this job. So the end kind of came pretty quickly. The chick, I don't even remember her name. She said it's time to change the soda canisters. It's time to refresh the soda, whatever. I don't even know what they're called. The big propane-looking tanks with soda in them. So she said, here you go, undo the nozzle. I couldn't do it. I could not get the nozzle off. She fell on the floor laughing at me. Ha ha ha. You ain't ever gonna last here. You can't even undo the soda nozzle. Ha ha ha. She's on the floor, and I see my coworkers. They know something's up. They can tell that I'm ill, something's wrong, and they're too polite to say anything, thankfully. But they told her once again, you need to stop laughing. Well, I was humiliated beyond anything that I could in recent memory. You probably got to go back to being a teenager. The first time I tried to talk to a girl, I like you. Will you be my boyfriend? Will you be my girlfriend? That kind of stuff. That was the last time I was this humiliated. So I'd had enough. I grabbed my my little jacket that I had, and we had these T-shirts, these dress shirts that we had to wear. Well, as I'm walking out the door, I couldn't get out fast enough. It had to have been like 200 or 300 steps to get out of this place. I did like some WWE and took my T-shirt off. Underneath I had a tank top, so I wasn't like bare chested walking through. And I walked up to the desk where, like the front desk where the ticket counter was. I slammed my shirt on the counter and said, I'm done. those poor kids didn't know what was. They saw this weird old bald dude limping at them. They didn't know what the hell was going on. So that's ended my one day of probably like 2 or 3 hours at a movie theater. I went home very defeated. I was very upset. I was crying. I mean, I actually broke down in tears. I was like, I can't even work at a movie theater. And of course, they called me and tried to get me to come back. And they said, we'll sit you on a stool. But at that point, I realized that the walking was going to kill me. The walking from station to station, I couldn't do it. Maybe with a wheelchair, but this was years ago. So there ends my sad story. That was the last time I ever tried to work. It was really defeating to be laughed off the job by a teenager who didn't know what was going on. Once again, no hard feelings toward this girl. I suspect she got fired afterwards based on the phone call that I got. They were like, what happened? Why did you storm off? I was like, well, I couldn't undo the soda nozzle because I had Parkinson's and the girl was laughing at me. So there ends my sad tale. But the good news is I still like movies. I still go to movie theaters when I can get out, even if I have to get out in a wheelchair. But yeah, so guys, know your limits, and I tried as hard as I could. I had to do it. I had to figure out if I could actually do it again, if I could work. And the answer was not one that I wanted. So until next time, peace and love from the city of St. Louis.